Hi all, my name is Malika and today we are having Jairo Romo. Jairo is a blockchain expert, advisor, founder, and we are really happy to see you today. Thank you for coming.
Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure. It's an honor, guys.
How did you first become interested in crypto and for how long are you in the space?
I started to get interested in crypto blockchain around 2015, 2016. I got a couple of certificates. At that time, not everybody knew about what blockchain was. So it was something really new. Just few companies, few founders, people involved with Bitcoin previously really knew about blockchain. And I got a couple of certificates, one of them through MIT, another one through Princeton. I got the flavor from blockchain in the business side, also in the technical side. And from there, I really saw the opportunity, the disruptive technology that is blockchain, the possibilities, the potential, new business models. So yes, 2015, 2016.
Cool. And when have you bought your first Bitcoin?
Wow, around 2015, 2016. At that time, the only 2-3 coins you had were Bitcoin, Ethereum. So I bought a little bit of Bitcoin, I bought a little bit of Ethereum. Look where Ethereum is these days. Bitcoin, same thing. But I would say that blockchain is not just cryptocurrencies. Blockchain is much more. But yes, the market pays a little bit more attention into cryptocurrencies because it's not just a technology, it's also an investment method, it's also a different thing. So it's what normally or usually we see more on the news, but there are many other use cases with blockchain where we don't really need to develop a cryptocurrency or a token.
Yeah, totally. Jairo, and could you please explain what is the blockchain? Imagine you're explaining blockchain technology to someone completely new to the concept. How would you describe it?
Sure. What blockchain is, for somebody that really doesn't know about technology, guys, we have been interacting with internet, but we have been interacting with the internet of information. Now we need the next version of internet. We need the internet of value. It's a publishing platform to democratize information and also value. So I would say that blockchain is the infrastructure that is going to allow us to create the internet of value. I'm going to make a quick example. When we, for example, buy something through a web page, through Amazon, we think we are interacting value, sending money, sending funds from one account to a different account, acquiring an article, acquiring a good. At the end, no, we are using internet, but the real transaction is made by intermediaries. It's made by a bank, it's made by Swift, it's made by MasterCard, by Visa. So at the end, we use internet to exchange information, but the validity of our transactions or the transactions is provided by intermediaries. Now what we are trying to do is create the new version of internet where we really can interact with value, exchange value. What blockchain is? The Web 3.0, so the new version of that web infrastructure, a new internet protocol that provides completely secure management of value. What is a blockchain? It's a global distributed database on internet where we store the information by consensus. We only store the information in the blockchain that has been already validated by consensus through the different participants of the network. So what is blockchain? A new web infrastructure, and really important to know that it's a new web infrastructure, foundational and transformational. Transformational because it's going to allow us to transform, to disrupt, to create new business models. but also at the same time foundational, because we can use that infrastructure to connect, to build on top of that technologies like artificial intelligence, like machine learning, like IoT, Internet of Things. So that could be a little bit what blockchain is. If we go a little bit, just a couple of comments, additional comments, if we really go to what blockchain could be a data, a place, an infrastructure, a database where data is securely stored in a ledger. The records are digitally signed. It's a distributed data shared ledger between multiple parties. So it's a single source of trust. So it's identity, security, transparency. I would like to finish saying that blockchain is the combination of three different concepts. One of them is encryption of information. The other one is asymmetric cryptography. And the third one, distributed layers. That's a little bit what blockchain could be.
That's a really great explanation. Thank you so much, Jairo. And we often hear about blockchain's potential to revolutionize industries. Can you share a real-world scenario where blockchain could bring significant positive change and explain how it would impact people's lives?
Absolutely. The initial use cases where we really saw the potential of blockchain were more in the financial industry. So the first examples were the life of the people have been really affected by blockchain. Could be remittance money, could be cross-border payments, could be that type of technology. After that, we have seen completely different use cases. So blockchain is slowly transforming every single industry. One of my favorite use cases could be supply chain, trade, for example. Trade is probably the most important financial activity, and with trade associated to trade is supply chains. So implementing blockchain in the supply chains, creating the new version of intelligent, automated supply chains could be one of the best use cases. So we can talk about trade, we can talk about supply chain, and all the finance that is behind that activity. That could be trade finance. So one of the main use cases. These days, if you allow me to add something, an additional comment, is these days everybody is talking about climate change. So why not to talk a little bit about how using blockchain we can really help climate change. I was working the other day with somebody from the United Nations to create a presentation for Geneva to talk for the different countries to really see all different use cases around climate change. Few of the use cases we selected, we detected that are really transformative, or where blockchain is really transformative, could be peer-to-peer renewable trading systems, could be crowd sale for renewable energy investment, could be optimized distributed grid management, authentication of renewable energy certificates, data ledger for optimization, transport, logistics, so supply chain again, but for raw material, for example, lithium these days, energy, raw materials, peer-to-peer vehicle sharing, smart parking systems for optimized mobility, ledger for collection and verification of ESG data, blockchain platform for carbon offsetting. So let's create carbon tokens where we, for farming, for manufacturing, for all different industries. Blockchain enables sustainable mining, So why not combining IoT and blockchain? Let's disrupt, let's improve, let's transform the mining industry, the supply chain of raw materials, citizens' loyalty and rewards platforms, smart cities and digital governments. Why not to use blockchain? Identity, crucial also. If we have to summarize, because there are more, we have biodiversity and conservation. We have many use cases also there. Healthy oceans, also many for the track and trace, connecting Internet of Things to really monitor oceans in real time. So many different use cases. The combination, one of the most transformative a combination of technologies could be blockchain, IoT, Internet of Things, and artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence using the data we store in the blockchain, IoT connecting different devices, machines, through a blockchain infrastructure, and blockchain for all the different reasons we just mentioned. So many different use cases.
Yeah, that's a great example, the climate change problem. And maybe you can give another example of a non-financial use case where blockchain could provide unique benefits.
Even for universities, for healthcare, let's create, at the end, our medical information is value, so let's create a supply chain where the good is our medical information. Let's connect all different participants in the healthcare ecosystem in just one system, in one blockchain, where they can exchange information as peers. So no more siloed information. Another one, as we said, for energy, renewable energy trading. Let's use blockchain for track and trace of raw materials, as we said before. So let's see, we are taking lithium from Chile and moving that lithium to Europe. Let's see where is the origin of that lithium. Let's see what are the different steps in the supply chain that lithium passed through. Another one for food, coffee from Colombia. Another example, diamonds in Africa. Another example, financial inclusion. You said not related with finance, but financial inclusion, it's much more than that. So let's help people to create a decentralized finance ecosystem, to be able to access to credit, to be able to access to funding. Real estate, we are seeing more and more these days examples of where using crowdfunding we can develop projects. We can go from real estate projects, so now we don't need a huge or a big construction company funding the project and building the project, and now we can put together different investors, individual people to fund projects for real estate, or why not to find infrastructure projects at a country level? Why not identity? If we said that blockchain is one of the key elements of blockchain is asymmetric cryptography. Asymmetric cryptography is an incredible tool to define identity, to be able to manage in a better, more secure way identity. Related to identity, know your customer, anti-money laundering policies. So many use cases.
Oh, yeah, thank you. And Jairo, how do you see blockchain evolving in the future? And what emerging trends or developments are you most excited about? You already named like several of them, but like the one you are excited most of.
The future is going to be the problem with blockchain, or not the problem, but why blockchain is taking that much time for the adoption, or why the industry, why the society is taking more time to adopt this technology than with other previous technologies, because this is a collaborative effort. So before, each company have their own systems, talking each other through interfaces. Now we are creating one system for all different participants. So it's question of collaboration, it's question of consensus, it's question of peers. So it's difficult for companies to get all together around the same table for the first time to develop a system all together, not just one company. So it's taking more time because of that. Also because it's disintermediating. One of the main features or one of the main disruptive effects of blockchain is disintermediation. Let's do things between the participants within the business process. So, and that then those intermediaries needs time to really see where is their next space in the industry. So then it takes time. The future, many different blockchains by use case, by industry, interacting each other. So at the end, it's something similar to what we have these days, that we have internet and we have intranet. Internet is public, intranets are private and for specific companies. So, but they interact. So the future, the same, but for the internet of value. So different networks, different protocols, exchanging information. So interoperability between protocols will be crucial. So that could be. And the other one, the other comment, we are talking these days a lot about the fourth industrial revolution. What an industrial revolution could means these days is a transformation in logistics, is a transformation in industry, in energy, and is a transformation also in telecommunications. So at the end, the way we interact value. So at the end, blockchain, the perfect infrastructure for that new decentralized, that new distributed ecosystem we need to be able that fourth industrial revolution. Same, IoT, the combination of IoT, Internet of Things, and blockchain and artificial intelligence. When we really will be able to do that, to combine those three technologies, it will be the right Web 3.0, the new metaverse, the new world.
You just explained it so well, and
Thank you. No, it's not true, but I don't know, I tried to explain a little bit more why blockchain, why the potential of this technology, not just for cryptocurrencies, guys.
Yeah.
Many solutions need to develop or have the need to develop a tokenization, need cryptocurrencies, but many other use cases don't really need cryptocurrencies. And we didn't mention something really important related to blockchain, that are smart contracts, crucial, because it's automation. We need efficiency, we need productivity, and then we need automation. So then we need that type of technology, like smart contract.
Yeah. And what do you say about blockchain technology, how it enhances data security and privacy for people and for organizations?
It's one of the best solutions we have these days, or I would say in terms of security, is the best solution we have right now. It takes more time, and it took more time because if you really want to provide something really secure through consensus, you need a lot of computing power, what means that throughput initially wasn't what we expected. But these days, that has changed completely, drastically, because now we have throughput, now we have security, and now we have a single source of trust. So it's not just a question of security, the encryption of information we mentioned before, also the asymmetric cryptography, but it's also that we store the information. We have a single source of trust. We provide transparency. If something wrong happens, we always would have a picture of what was in the system before. So always we can have solutions, make decisions, resolve problems, discrepancies, whatever.
Yeah, totally. And what are some potential solutions or strategies for achieving scalability in blockchain networks, allowing them to handle a larger number of transactions?
There are many. What mainly, if we focus, there are many because there are many different networks. So each of those networks at the end have the potential, the possibility to create, to provide a new solution to tackle those problems you just mentioned. But if we take a look to the main two networks, let's say Bitcoin on one side, let's say Ethereum on the other side, with Bitcoin, completely different approaches right now because one of them is using proof of work, the other one is using proof of stake. We are seeing more or less the same. That is layer 2 solutions. So we can use an infrastructure for the blockchain protocol, but we can build something on top of that. So we can create layer 2 solutions on top of Bitcoin or on top of Ethereum. Different solutions, we have many. There are several different ways to reach consensus. So then the different types of solutions. But what Ethereum has been doing, for example, I think that is really compelling. This protocol, the solution, the technology they have been experimenting, and we have these days on production, is really mature and provides that throughput you mentioned before. So we are talking now that we can execute with Ethereum 2.0 more transactions than with a company like MasterCard, like Visa. So we are prepared. We have in the market solutions already prepared for the type of global services, global platforms we have these days. So no problem. And one important thing, proof of stake, we mentioned, sharding could be a different one, a different solution. Also from Ethereum, or also in Ethereum, they use that technological approach. So let's do things on parallel, not just one machine or not just let's diversify a little bit of who is really providing that computational power. So that completely makes sense. Creating different roles. So why not new blockchains are more or define different roles? So each participant within the network has a different role. We don't have to be doing every participant the same activity, validating transactions. We can do different things. So then we provide more agility to the network, a bigger throughput.
Jairo, and can you discuss the potential impact of blockchain on financial inclusion, especially in regions with limited access to traditional banking services?
One of the best use cases. We can take a look to Africa, for example. Africa is the concept that we have been talking about leapfrogging. That is, the emerging countries can do better than the already emerged countries because they can remove or they can learn from the previous bad experiences of other developed countries. So then financial inclusion, Africa, for example, they started doing things with financial inclusion 5, 6, 7 years ago, with combination with incumbents, banks over there, but also working together with telephone companies. Also, remittance money is huge. The amount of immigrants we have in other countries that send money to their countries of origin. So then let's provide more transparency. Charity is also one of those use cases that could go under the umbrella of financial inclusion. So yes, let's provide different ways. When we work in our developed countries to get a bank account, to go to a bank, provide your papers, provide your financial statements, whatever, and then you are able to get a bank account. There are many countries in the world where it's not easy like that, where you cannot get a bank, you cannot get a a branch, you cannot get a person that could provide you a enterprise that could provide you the possibility to create a bank account. From the bank account to access to funding, credit, why not? Sometimes you need money to do things. We mentioned before crowdfunding, really good example with blockchain, but also financial inclusion, remittance money, charity, those type of things.
Yeah, totally. And thank you so much, Jairo. I would ask you a question as your advisor, right? You provide advisory for projects. Jairo, could you share what resources or tools do you rely on to stay informed about the crypto market?
Wow, the crypto market. Wow. The web in general. The web in general, why? Because it's necessary to really see what is happening. GitHub, venture capital firms, platforms, universities. So at the end, if you really want to be up to date around blockchain, that is a new technology where we really see two different groups of people developing or interacting with blockchain. That is big companies, the incumbents, the institutional companies, governments, and on the other side, we have the individuals developing the new startups, the new founders. So if you really want to be up to date with blockchain, you have to be up to date with those two groups of companies, those environments, those whatever, put a name. Because on the institutional side, incumbent side, many use cases are being developed with blockchain. But we are seeing many startups with new business models. So, and university is really good because what we are seeing these days are universities as Stanford, universities as MIT, universities, the big ones in US and not just in US, also globally, really supporting new ventures around blockchain, around the Web3. So institutional universities, incumbents, governments, technological hubs, open platforms, open source platforms. Why not?
Okay, yeah, cool, thank you. And what are the top 3 criteria to invest in crypto project for you?
Wow. At the end is the idea. Always is the idea. Always is the idea. So then is the idea, the roadmap. You have to be covering, there are always two ways. One is covering a real need exists these days in the market, or if not, the other one is creating a need that we don't really know we have. So with those two, the idea, what is your differentiator? What is the idea you are bringing to the market? After that, the team is incredibly important, the team. When you are talking about the team, you are talking about the CIO, the CTO, the CMO. You really have to create a good team. Marketing is crucial these days. Technology is crucial these days. And also business development, operations. The teams are now global. So then operations is important to really see how we want to put the idea on the market strategy. What else? The mass adoption. What I mean with the mass adoption, and not just through the markets, but also through the development. So what you are really creating? Are you creating a service? Are you creating a product? Or are you creating an infrastructure that has the possibility to develop different use cases on top of that infrastructure? If we are talking about an infrastructure where it could be the best option to really invest on something because it has more potential, you are creating an ecosystem of, in the future, different applications. So you are providing different services at once or using the same infrastructure, the same network, the same technology. So then it's important to have developers, because if there are many developers using your platform, that means that you are going to be able to provide through that platform different services without the need of being developing those use cases or those services or those products by yourself. You have the wisdom of the crowd, and at the same time, you have people developing, using, and reinforcing the need for your infrastructure. Throughput is crucial. Interoperability, really important. If we said that the future are going to be or is going to be different networks talking or exchanging information between them, each other, so then interoperability is also crucial. We said before, speed and throughput could be very similar, but speed is important. If you want to create something public or you want to create something private, it's important to consider also that. If you have many competitors or is just the only company that is in the market covering that use case, what we said before, covering a real need we have now, creating a new need. Different, the access, the different variables we really can use to see the potential of partnerships. Partnerships many times are also important because it's not necessary to do everything by yourself. It's better to create the right ecosystem of partners. So
totally agree. And what are some potential legal and regulatory challenges that blockchain projects may face, and how would you solve them?
I would comment on two things. And then completely different, or one of them is smart contracts. Now we are developing new technologies like AI, like smart contracts, like IoT robotics, where machines, devices, technology itself make decisions. We trigger through information, feed it with information, these systems. We make the systems autonomous to make decisions. We create autonomous systems. Then we really need to open a conversation about what are the legal responsibilities of those actions that are triggered by us through the information we send to the networks, we send to the systems, but the systems themselves, they execute, they make decisions and they trigger actions. So let's see who is the legal responsible for that. The other one, we needed legal framework that we didn't have. The industry itself has been waiting for a legal framework, global if it's possible, to really, because we are talking about global solutions. So it's not just question of having a legal framework, regulatory framework in US, a one in a different in Europe, a different one in China, a different one in... No, these are global solutions. We should start thinking on global regulatory frameworks. And it's good news. We have, when you have problems normally, is the moment when you stop, you think, and then you make, you see the responsibilities or the consequences of your actions, the industry in general, and then you make decisions and you fix problems. Is what happened this year and a half. We saw many different problems with blockchain companies or with cryptocurrency companies, starting with FTX, what is going to happen with Binance. We have now new regulation or we are going to have new regulation in US. The SEC doesn't have a real clear idea of how to regulate all different approaches we can develop with blockchain. So I think we are really now developing, creating that regulatory framework. So from now on, I think that the industry is going to be more secure about what is the right path to really take for the future.
Yeah, and how do you respond to criticisms that some people associate blockchain technology with money laundering and darknet marketplaces and stuff like that?
That is not technology is a tool, guys. If we use technology in the wrong way, we are the problem, not the technology. So those problems you just mentioned, we had those problems for the last 2000 years. So it's not something new. It's question of that the human being, the society has to evolve. Technology is a tool. How we use that tool is our responsibility, and we will pay the consequences of how we use technology. But it's our fault. It's not the technology's fault or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally. Thank you so much, Jairo.